but a testament to your dedication. Celebrate your passion with every sip. The Jiu-Jitsu Shaker pint glass. Cheers to...
Yes, indeed. It's Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, new fights added to UFC 294, and the UFC drops USADA.
Let's go!
Indeed. Let's go. Let's see what we can do here. What do we have for you? There's AJ. Hi, AJ.
Hey!
Hi.
Cocktail. What's up with that cocktail quote, man? Cocktail.
Yes. Yes. I also remarked upon the sound that the man had after he was poured a cocktail. Cocktail.
He likes his cocktail.
He really liked that cocktail, that guy on the commercial,
like,
bringing us in. Buy the cup, though.
he wasn't
Merch.ringsidereport.net. Buy the cup. Merch.ringsidereport.net. You will also orgasm when your cup is poured into one of our nice glasses that we have. So
He likes that cocktail.
take it easy, AJ. Don't be
Hey,
rude.
the jiu-jitsu
Don't
mug.
be rude.
The jiu-jitsu mug. I'm like, yeah, I like to see that jiu-jitsu mug. He's
Get
talking
one
about
for
it,
yourself,
but I don't see
AJ.
it.
No freebies on this show.
We're paid handsomely on this show.
Yeah, you're paid in full. All right.
Hey, what's up, boys?
We're
It's
hanging in
October,
there.
man.
We're hanging
Our
in. We're
birthdays
seeing
have
what's
passed.
going on. Hopefully we don't have...
October 28th.
I know we've been having some streaming issues, and I feel like we're having them again, but hopefully everything works.
That shit happens. Doesn't matter. If it doesn't, you just keep yapping. That's why the executive producer is on hand. He'll fix it. Like last week's show.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. I thought we had to figure it out after last week's show, but it seems like it's not figured out yet, so... We'll see. We'll see how things go here tonight. If our stream craps out on YouTube, just stay on our YouTube channel, and we'll be back, and we'll keep it going. Right?
Don't fire the producer, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Angelo Contagonis, member of the team over at join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net is where you want to be. And Angelo has joined. Thank you, Angelo.
What's up,
I see
Angelo?
him in the chat.
The hell?
Fred, you good?
I'm great.
Congratulations to Fred. New purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Let's go.
Us. Well deserved, man.
Amazing.
Purple belt, man. It's a lot, man.
Hey.
That shows you the hours and hours on the mat, the dedication, man, the ups and downs. Freddie, like, he's gone through operations, and he recovered, and he's back on the mat. That's a lot, man. That says a lot about someone. You know?
Thanks.
The character.
That's exactly what Lewis said when he gave it to me. He gave me props for coming back from all those injuries, and it was great. I appreciated it.
Bravo, man. Bravo.
Fred puts a lot of time on the mats, and I can attest that he's very good at jiu-jitsu. So, well earned. Well earned.
Yep.
Congratulations,
And for
Fred.
you too, dude. You got your blue, and you've got something to strive towards, man. You got to
Trying
get the
catch up to
Freddies.
Fred. And we're all
That's
trying
it,
to catch up to you, AJ, Mr. Brown Belt over
Yeah,
there.
but you know what? I'm getting better, but I didn't talk about it on the show, but I had like some issues with my Tuesday night class, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Jealous bastards that come from other martial arts, man. They always try to ruin like jiu-jitsu. They think their shit is going to work against wrestlers. It ain't going to work.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry
Cobra
that...
Kai.
What's that? What happened,
Cobra
Freddie?
Kai. It sounds
Yeah.
like a Cobra Kai episode.
Yeah, it's exactly that, man. It's a good point. It's listen, I respect the Cobra Kai, man. Great television show. But yeah, some of those characters, man, you know, it's hard to deal with them, man. You just want to smash them, you know, but
All right.
unfortunately, you know, lawsuits happen.
Yeah, don't assault people, AJ. That's usually a good rule of thumb. Unless you are, of course, Dillon Danis, in which case,
Yep.
hey,
Prime.
anything goes, I suppose. Do whatever you want.
That's crazy, man.
There's a lot going on in the fight world. I just want to kind of run through a couple of things. UFC and USADA are pulling the plug on their deal. USADA put out a statement yesterday that the UFC today is wanting a retraction and apology from USADA. I can read you a little bit of the statement here, but a lot of it had to do with Conor McGregor. And the USADA kind of blaming Conor McGregor for the dissolution of the UFC-USADA relationship, which is kind of odd. And I'm trying to get the statement here for you. But there's a lot, like there's the UFC USADA thing, right? UFC 294 got blown up. It's going to be Khamzat Chimaev against Kamaru Usman now because Paulo Costa's injured. He had a problem with his elbow, so he had elbow surgery. So Costa's out of that fight, which is next week, next Saturday night or Saturday afternoon in Abu Dhabi. It's Khamzat versus now Kamaru Usman, former welterweight champion. This one is a middleweight fight. And then in the main event, it was supposed to be Charles Oliveira in a rematch with Islam Makhachev, but now it's Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski because Charles is hurt. Charles got cut in sparring. I saw the cut on Charles. It was pretty nasty. I don't know what happened there, whatever happened there, but now we have the main event, a rematch, and a different rematch for Islam Makhachev. Instead of the rematch with Oliveira, he gets a rematch with Volkanovski, which was a closer fight than the first Oliveira fight, so I don't hate it. The co-main event is cool, too. Paulo Costa against Khamzat would have been fun, but Usman against Khamzat is a good fight, too, so stuff going on there for UFC 294. There is a UFC card this weekend, Sodiq Yusuff versus Edson Barbosa at the Apex. That's the main event. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the main event.
That's the main event.
Okay. Should
be okay.
Yeah. We'll get to some of those fights as well here on the show. There's just a lot going on. Conor McGregor re-entering USADA makes it, more and more likely that he will fight at some point in 2024. But if USADA is no longer part of the picture, like UFC they're starting their own anti-doping program that will be run by Jeff Nowitzki, who was the USADA guy. Have you seen that guy? I mean, that's another thing. That's another part of this story. So there's a lot going on.
A lot happening, man.
And this weekend, it's that Logan Paul Dillon Danis boxing match, supposedly.
Crazy.
But then Logan Paul got cut from a microphone that Dillon Danis threw at his face at the press conference just a few hours ago. So I don't know if that fight is still happening. Everything's in limbo right now. Everything is just kind of like, ooh, what's happening? Nothing is on solid ground.
Well, listen, Paul made a quote. He says, "Dillon can't escape me. The fight is very much happening. The stakes just got higher." But you're right. But it didn't start with Dillon Danis. It started with Logan, man, because he threw the bottle, or was it Paul? It was Paul that threw the bottle and hit Danis, and then Danis threw the microphone. So he started it, actually, But listen, he got clipped with a microphone. Shit happens. It wouldn't be a reason to cancel the fight unless he lost his eye or something, which would have sucked. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Leading up to this fight is just insane.
Yeah.
See, out of the list of things they've mentioned, this is probably last on my want to talk list. Like, I don't really care about it. I hope it happens. I hope it doesn't get canceled because there was a lot of trash talk. But in the end, man, it's just like it's a clown fight, and I'll watch it. I'll admit it. I'll watch it. But let's not make it be something that it's not. It's not important. It's a fight between two clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's right.
But you know what? It brings the crowd. It brings the haters. It brings everybody. Everybody's going to want to watch this fight. They're going to get really good ratings out of it at the end of this all. No matter how much you disagree with these guys.
You say that every time, but the Jake
Yeah.
Paul pay-per-views haven't been that great lately, man. His last couple of
Wow.
pay-per-views haven't sold that much. So we'll see, man.
But they
These guys
sell
are
a lot more.
YouTube stars.
But they sell a lot more than a lot of guys that are known names that have brought their careers to levels where they should be making numbers like Jake or Logan Paul, but they don't.
Yeah, but you make it
Regardless,
seem like, the whole world is watching this and buying this,
is.
but that's not the fact. They're selling about like 100,000 pay-per-views. So, I mean,
Listen, man,
it's
still
good,
100,000
but it's
pay-per-views,
nothing
man.
great.
But you know what? Dillon Danis said something that was very interesting. He says, you know what the problem is with pay-per-views is that a lot of people are streaming this shit and getting it for free, really. So that's where the numbers really get skewed and whatnot. But like when you look at the attendance and all those factors as well, the merch sales and everything, these guys bring in some pretty good money. And I can assure you, this fight happening with Dillon Danis, I mean, I think the numbers are going to be very, very surprising. Not on the negative side, on the positive side. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to this fight, as an entertainment fight. And I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a hard fight for Logan, man. Dillon Danis looks big. He looks fit. And he looks like determined. And you know what? There's a lot on the table here, man. There's so many things on the table. I don't think they're going to walk away like hugging each other at the end of this fight.
No.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I think the beef between these guys is real. There's been a lot of trash talk, mostly from Dillon Danis heading into it. His Twitter feed has been nonstop pictures and talk of Logan's fiance. She's suing Dillon Danis for some stuff that he did. There's just a lot going into this fight, a lot of heat, a lot of hype. It's mostly hype between two guys that are all hype. But the problem is for these guys is they actually have to fight on Saturday. They actually have to step in and do a fight against each other. And I think that Logan...
Will it be good?
Say it again?
Will the actual fight be good?
No, probably not.
I don't expect it to be great.
But, sometimes it doesn't matter if it's good. It's just about who's in the fight. Like, it doesn't have to be this technical mastery. It's just like, hey, this is some sort of fight. And some guys, they slug it out even if they have no skill. I'm hoping these guys bring it. I'm hoping these guys go for a knockout. I'm hoping these guys show some heart and some fighting spirit. I don't really expect it. But again, I don't know what to expect with this fight because neither of these guys are really... Dillon Danis is not a boxer. I'd say Logan is more of a boxer than Danis, but at this point, Logan is more of a pro wrestler than a boxer. So it's hard to figure out what to make of Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis in a boxing ring. My mind says, though, that Logan is going to knock him out. He's going to beat him up, and it's going to be vicious. But
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure about that, Dave.
Okay, AJ, that's cool. I'll tell you what, AJ, I'll do something. I'll tell you something that'll make you real happy. This Saturday afternoon, because the fight will be in the afternoon in England, the Ringside Report Network will be covering the fight. We will be doing a live watch-along for the Dillon Danis Logan Paul boxing match, and you will be on the watch-along, AJ. All right, you will be there at your studio, and you will be watching along, watching the boxing match, and we will see what happens. And then we may stick around for the main event, which is KSI versus Tommy Fury. And Tommy Fury's father, who's also Tyson Fury's father, John Fury, was furious at the press conference. I don't know if you saw him just like punching a wall, just going completely bananas, yelling at KSI.
What was that all about?
John Fury gets into it. I don't know if you've seen him before, but he's a rough and tumble fella. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Good. He's a tough guy, man. But the thing is that like that wall, like you're talking about the glass partition thing where he starts pounding it.
Yeah.
Is it that part?
Yeah.
That was insane. I can't believe it's like, if you haven't seen it, it's like a cage, a glass cage with a gorilla on one side and the other, and people looking on the other. It was completely like closed, and they were trying to get through this glass partition to fight each other. It was insane. I've never seen anything like that. But it brings entertainment, man. It brings eyes to the screen. It sold me, and I'm like, what the hell is that? But they were trying to get through, man. I would have liked to see what happens if they did, but very interesting. They're bringing eyes to the sport of boxing, for people that are not really
that is true, AJ. That is true. They are bringing eyes to... But see, the thing is, they're bringing eyes to this boxing, but I don't think they're bringing eyes to the sport of boxing. You know? Like,
In
who's
some sense.
Who's that fighter that Jake Paul tries to promote? That woman there who's like a fighter. She's always on his cards. I know he tries to make her a star and tries to promote other boxers. It doesn't work. You know, I don't know her name. I've seen her fight probably a few times, but I don't know her name. I can't think of it. She's not relevant in the world of combat sports, you know, not like Jake Paul is or Logan Paul, you know. I don't think they bring eyes to the sport of boxing. I think they bring eyes to themselves and whatever they're doing.
To be fair, Dave, we don't really care about boxing because I know exactly who you're talking about, but I have no clue what's her name. So,
Yeah.
you know, to be fair, we don't care about boxing, but people that do care about boxing, maybe they do remember her, so I don't know.
Maybe, but maybe not. But, you know, I know who Tommy Fury is, and I know who KSI is, and I know Dillon Danis and Logan Paul, and those guys are going to be doing a freak show boxing match on Saturday afternoon, and we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's on the afternoon? I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. Oh, Fred's going to be on the watch along too. Let's go.
I'm not going to be there.
Oh, he's not going to be on the watch along.
Freddie.
No.
I thought you said you. Me too. I thought I heard I'm going to be there. I'm like, it's an afternoon show. Freddie should be there.
Afternoon.
He's not sleeping.
You love afternoon shows, Fred. It's your favorite.
Unless he's doing a siesta in the afternoon. I have no idea. Damn. What time is it at again? Exactly, Fred. Dave, what time is it at?
No clue.
Around 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
Around 5 o'clock Eastern Saturday. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. It's going to be an interesting night, man.
Angelo says, I don't care about boxing. He just straight up doesn't care about boxing.
Angelo cares about WWE, the Canadians, and
I don't
UFC.
really care about boxing either, to be really honest. Like the big fights and stuff I care about. Certain guys I'll watch, but for the most part, I'm not like a boxing fan. Like we don't talk a lot of boxing on this show. I'm not like a big boxing guy.
A lot about boxing in the next little while. We'll be talking about Saturday's fight coming up. We'll be talking about Fury versus Nagano, which is going to be an amazing boxing event.
Yeah, we only talk about like the freak show fights.
Yeah, those are the freak show fights. Like we didn't break down Canelo's last fight. I know he was fighting, but I couldn't tell you the name of the guy he fought.
Charlo, something like that.
Charo. I don't know.
Charo.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Charo.
I'm not a boxing guy. I'm an MMA guy. I like mixed martial arts. I like UFC. I like drugs. I mean,
I do.
Not anymore. It's open, dude. That means Vito Belfort
UFC
could come
and
right
USADA.
back into the UFC, man. You'll see Belfort walking up straight to the top and be like, Dana, I am ready.
Now, that's what we thought when we heard that USADA was ending its relationship with the UFC. But the UFC has come out with statements saying, we are doing our own drug testing program. USADA knew that we were in the process of leaving them. And what they put out in their statement was, quote, trash. This is a quote from Jeff Nowitzki, said it was trash what USADA put out yesterday. So Jeff Nowitzki and the UFC firing off some pretty angry statements, including lawyer for the UFC Hunter Campbell saying that the USADA CEO Travis Tygart has, quote, lost his mind on a phone call that they had Monday after he was told the UFC were dissolving the relationship. So he was very upset, apparently, and
I mean, they're going to lose a lot of money. Now, I think the bigger question is, you know, like, if you're USADA, of course, you're not happy. You just lost one of your bigger clients. I mean, we're probably talking about millions of dollars. But what I'm interested in is UFC saying that they're going to be doing their own testing. And yeah, they bring out the name of Jeff Nowitzki and all that. But my bigger question is, can fighters trust the UFC with this type of thing? I don't know, man. That's a pretty, like, if Conor McGregor, is he going to be tested the same way as anybody else and all that? I mean, those are legit questions, I think, man, if you're a fighter. And the promoter being involved with the test is, I don't know. It's not, it's not totally clear.
They say it's going to be an independent deal where they have a guy who's a former FBI agent who's going to head it up, and they've got their own scientists, and they've got a whole operation set up. But, it is the UFC setting it all up. So
you take out the fiddle.
Fair point.
I mean, they're paying the bill of everybody.
Yeah.
And this new agency doesn't have as far as I don't know who's going to be doing the test exactly, but like USADA had a reputation to protect a little bit. So does this new people have a reputation that they want to protect, or are they there just to do a job for whoever pays them?
Freddie, for all we know, it could be Conor's biology lab. We don't know. And that's the thing, it really depends on what's going to be banned, what's not going to be banned. There could be all kinds of things that maybe they're allowed to take, other than, maybe there is going to be some testosterone capabilities and whatnot that won't be banned, which was banned in the USADA testing pool.
I don't have an issue with that. I don't have if the rules change a bit, I don't have that much of an issue of. I'm talking more about really fairness, like making sure that nobody gets preferred treatment where, hey, this guy's not getting tested for a couple of months or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm just speculating here. I'm not putting any bad intentions in anybody, but there's a lot of money involved, and those are questions that should be asked.
Yep. I mean, that's legit. And the UFC is quite upset with this statement from USADA. I'll read you the statement from their CEO, Travis T. Tygart. He says, we can confirm that Conor McGregor... So the statement starts off with Conor McGregor, right? So a lot of this is about Conor, but it's not really about Conor. UFC is saying that USADA is using the Conor issue as a way of saying that that's why that they're dissolving their relationship, but really it was the UFC pulling the plug. It's kind of like two people breaking up, and it's like, oh, I broke up with you. No, I broke up with you because they want to save face. It's kind of weird what's going on here, and I'm not sure what side to take. I know a lot of people are like, oh, USADA got slammed by the UFC, and UFC is right, and USADA's the bad guy, but I'm not sure yet. It's not fully clear. So here's USADA's statement. We can confirm that Conor McGregor has re-entered the USADA testing pool as of Sunday, October 8th. We have been clear and firm with the UFC that there should be no exception given by the UFC for McGregor to fight until he has returned 2 negative tests and been in the pool for at least 6 months. So that already there. We have been clear and firm with the UFC that there should be no exception. So that makes it seem like the UFC was asking USADA for an exception.
Were they?
I don't know. But it definitely is a leading, right? I mean, we are clear and firm with the UFC there should be no exception given by the UFC for Conor McGregor, but they also are clear and firm with the UFC that there should be no exception for anyone. Are they just saying Conor McGregor as a way to kind of drive that issue, saying the UFC was trying to do shady stuff with Conor because everybody kind of suspects that something weird is going on, and now with Conor coming back in the testing pool, coming back to fight, and the USADA deal running out, is like it's hard to tell. Is this the USADA deal going like, UFC, they're breaking up with us, but it's not because we're bad at being USADA, it's because they wanted to make exception for Conor? Or does the UFC really want to make an exception for Conor, and is USADA saying, whoa, we don't do this kind of stuff?
If media and MMA weren't scared to lose their access, because that's how it works in MMA, if you rough some feathers, I think you might lose some access.
Yeah,
they would be asking questions like that to Dana, because that's a legit question. Like, is USADA saying the truth? Did you guys really ask for an exemption for Conor McGregor or some type of different way to treat him? And if that's the case, well, that puts me at what I said earlier: is, can we trust the UFC to to do the right thing with the testing and make sure that everybody's tested the same way and nobody gets preferred treatment. Because USADA seems to indicate that they wanted Conor McGregor to get preferred treatment, and if that's the case, well, I wouldn't trust the UFC to be heading the new anti-doping.
The statement followed, despite a positive and productive meeting about a contract renewal in May 2023, the UFC did an about-face and informed USADA on Monday, October 9th that it was going in a different direction. Now, this was the day after Conor McGregor re-entered the USADA testing pool, according to USADA. So on Sunday, Conor re-enters the pool. On Monday, UFC calls him and goes, we're going in a different direction for drug testing. Is that true? Because that's pretty shady, if that is true, and that is what USADA is saying. UFC's denying a lot of this, right? They're like, no. And the press conference just happened, so I haven't had a chance to see the whole thing because we were just getting on as it was wrapping up. But the UFC mostly talking about their new testing pool and how USADA's just upset because they're losing money, but USADA says, we are disappointed for UFC athletes who are independent contractors who rely on our independent gold standard global program to protect their rights to a clean, safe, and fair octagon. We are disappointed for UFC athletes who are independent contractors, right? Like they're kind of, they're poking them. They're poking the UFC. Hey, they're independent contractors. They're not employees. They're stuck in a contract where they really have no leeway, by the way. The relationship between USADA and UFC became untenable given the statements made by UFC leaders and others questioning USADA's principled stance that McGregor not be allowed to fight without being in the testing pool for at least 6 months. One UFC commentator echoed this, recently declaring that USADA should not oversee the UFC program since we held firm to the 6-month rule involving McGregor, and since we do not allow fighters without an approved medical basis to use performance-enhancing drugs like experimental, unapproved peptides, or testosterone for healing or injuries just simply to get back in the octagon. I think that UFC commentator is Joe Rogan, although I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's who they're talking about, right?
Yes.
Which, why is that if you're USADA, you're overseeing the drug testing, what do you give a shit about what Joe Rogan says on his podcast? I mean, honestly, if you're a person in the world, what do you give a shit about what Joe Rogan says on his podcast? I mean, it's Joe Rogan.
Again, Joe Rogan said things like
viewers, man.
Yeah, but he's not.
This is what I'm reading.
It's entertainment purposes.
But I mean, I'm reading that Joe Rogan said basically USADA's waking up guys at 6:30 in the morning on days of the weigh-in or the days of the fight and things like that, and guys didn't like it, which is okay. But those things could be resolved with simple negotiations between both parties saying, hey, we don't do testing before 10 a.m. or, those things should be resolved. So I don't think that should not be the reason why UFC is leaving USADA. I don't believe that's a valid reason.
And the statement also seems to it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really add up because it says, on the one hand, UFC on October 9th said we're dissolving the relationship, but then a couple paragraphs later, it's our relationship with UFC became untenable because of the Conor situation. So which is it? Is it that the UFC told you that they were breaking up with you, or is that you just couldn't handle the UFC anymore because they wanted to make exceptions for Conor? Because in this one statement, they seem to be saying both things, which leads me to believe that the USADA is maybe bullshitting a little bit. Because when you put out statements where you go, well, this, but also this, it's it doesn't really add up. Did the UFC say you were done on Monday, October 9th? Or did you say, hey, we can't deal with you in the whole Conor thing? Or was that just a nagging issue that just kept going and you were arguing for a while about it, and then the UFC said, USADA's not going to play ball, so we're done with them? Is that what happened? I don't know. This is what I do know. I've been following this sport for a long time. And I remember when there was no USADA. Fighters were on steroids. They were jacked. They were on TRT. They were on all the shit. And it was really easy to be on all sorts of stuff and fight. It was prevalent in the sport. USADA came in. A lot of people's physique stopped looking as crazy. Some people stopped fighting as well. And things seemed to kind of even out and make sense. At the beginning, I remember Lorenzo Fertitta saying, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And he was exactly right. And we had a lot of people testing positive for a lot of stuff, and it was sad and it was difficult to process. But eventually it got better, and we stopped hearing about this fighter or that fighter on every UFC card testing positive for one thing or another. I've been following this sport, again, for a very long time, and I could tell you that we used to have drug test failures on cards every single week. And now you don't hear about it because I think USADA has done their job. I really do. I have seen the transformation of MMA, mostly in the UFC, because that's where it is, but not just in the UFC, because if you're aspiring to fight in the UFC and you're all roided up, it's not really good, because once you get into that USADA testing pool, you're screwed. Right? Like, you're not going to pass the test. So if you're an outside the UFC fighter, you still got to be clean-ish or as clean as possible, because you might get that call from the UFC, and if you're dirty, well, then you're screwed and you're not going to get the contract. So I have seen USADA improve things in the sport. And now that they're gone, I wonder what's going to happen. And the UFC can say they have a plan all they want, and the USADA guy, Jeff Nowitzki, can be in charge of it and all of this. But until it's actually in place and we see how it is and how it works, I'm not going to say that this is better. I'm not going to say that it's worse, because it's unknown. I mean, when you implement a brand new system, you can't tell, but I think Fred raises a very important issue, that this is a UFC drug testing program that the UFC will be overseeing in many ways. They were bankrolling USADA, but they were paying USADA to do their job and not really like putting the people in place. Like, this is a Jeff Nowitzki program, and UFC is paying Jeff Nowitzki to be their guy to do this, and he's taking all the right people and hiring. If a guy working for the UFC is hiring and firing your drug testing people, who's really in charge of your drug testing? Like, if the UFC hires a guy to do it and they say, well, you're independent, but it's still the UFC paying his salary, who does he work for? And that's a little bit difficult. That's a gray area. So we'll see how it goes.
I want to know the opinions of fighters and ex-fighters. Like, I'd love to hear George St. Pierre. What he was very vocal about the whole drug testing thing. He was one of the reasons why USADA got brought into the UFC, and I wonder what fighters think about it. And I'll make my opinion. Yeah, I'll make my opinion once I read some fighter quotes and what they think about it.
Well, look, Anthony. I saw a quote from Anthony Pettis, and he was not keen on the fact that USADA is not going to be there to regulate the fighters and whatnot. But we don't really know the full extent of how the UFC is going to be able to regulate this type of drug testing. But I'm sure money is a factor as well. Instead of paying USADA, they're going to do it their way and whatnot. And you know what? Maybe they'll drive it into more of that entertainment value where fighters can last a little bit longer, depending on certain things that will be allowed in the UFC. So, if
are you
TRT
hoping for roided up UFC? Is that your? It's what you want, right? It's kind of what you want.
It's not. That's what I want.
Vitor's return.
Vitor's return, man. Belfort is back.
How old is Vitor right now? 44, 45 probably?
Yeah,
I don't know.
like
Yeah,
that.
but if he steps in, Freddie, he'll look like he's 21 years old, man, jacked to the gills. But that's the thing with Belfort, man. You know, I'm just saying is it depends what's going to be allowed. Like, you know, if TRT is allowed, I mean, look, it's not going to give you that advantage. It's really going to give you the capability to recover a lot faster.
Oh, it
You know what I'm
won't
saying?
give you an advantage, AJ. Sure,
Well,
sure.
it will
Just take
to
a look at Vitor like on TRT and then off TRT. Tell me if that didn't give that man an advantage. He was kicking
All
people's
these guys
heads
were
off
doing
on
it.
TRT. What?
All these guys were doing it just for fun, man, because they
Yeah.
like the feeling.
Oh,
not
it
because
didn't
there's
help
an
at all,
advantage.
AJ. No advantage. Yeah, people
Look, but
just
if
did it
everybody,
'cause
but look,
it
if
tastes
everybody's
good.
allowed to look, if everybody's allowed to do it, then isn't it considered fair game at that point?
I guess, but is that
You know what I'm
should we
saying?
be doing
That's
that?
what Gordon Ryan wants. Gordon Ryan commented on the situation, and he's like pro testosterone. He said like you want two guys with as much testosterone going at it. So I think Gordon Ryan supports
Well,
no drug testing.
have you seen him?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
have you seen him off of that? Like when he was going through his recovery, he didn't
Right.
look like the same Gordon Ryan. There was like
Yeah.
he looked like two different guys altogether. But yeah, it makes a look in the jiu-jitsu world right now. There is no testing. I mean, guys at the top are like killing machines, except for like Mike Musameshi. I
Mickey
mean, this guy is,
Musumeci.
Mhm.
yeah, he's a little bit different, and but yet,
Yeah,
it's tough
he,
not to
he
be on
pulled
it in
an
the jiu-jitsu
Aoki
world.
lock on Aoki, which was
That's
pretty
incredible.
cool,
But
2 weeks
how
ago.
fast was that? That was incredible. And you know what? To give
Yeah,
a lot
but
of credit.
I mean,
You know, I'm
I
you know
love
what,
when
Freddie, I'm gonna tell
FC.
you-
I love that when FC gives us grappling matches,
was
but
great.
these are mismatches, man. I mean, like Aoki's old and Musumeci's
Yeah,
a
but he's only
current
40 years
top
old, dude. He's not that
contender.
old.
Yeah,
He's
but
27 years
Musumeci's
old.
one of the top guys in his division right now.
Yeah, but
Aoki doesn't
man,
compete.
Yeah, I know, dude, but it was really interesting to see. And to be honest, man, a lot of credit to Mickey. You know what? And like I said to you guys on the chat, man, I got a chance to see Mickey. I think he was 16 years old when I was yapping with him, giving him words of encouragement and whatnot. I can see this kid. He looked like a geek, and I didn't think that this guy here was going to become like a world champion one day. But when I saw him grappling at the Abu Dhabi championships, I'm like, oh man, this kid is like, he doesn't look like the killer that I thought he was. I thought he would have been swept away. I heard a lot of good things about him. Really nice kid. But now, holy smokes, man, he is one of the best in the world. And regardless of the guy being, he got Aoki with his own role. And I loved his post talk after the win. Like he gave a lot of credit, to Aoki, saying that, it was because of him, in a sense, to really get into jiu-jitsu and really understand the submission, which is pretty impressive. He did it in like less than 3 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, which is incredible. But, Mickey is something, man. Incredible, incredible kid. And I was glad that I met him like at such a young age. And, he changed my mind on, don't always look at the guys that are like built like trucks or ripped like the Hawks, man. You got a guy like Mickey that can destroy a lot of guys.
Yeah, you never know. You can't.
But imagine Mickey on TRT. Damn.
Maybe. Maybe.
Think about it.
A lot of people don't know who we're talking about, I'm sure. There's a guy called Mikey Musumeci. He's one of the top Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys in the world right now.
Darth Regatoni.
He looks like a geek.
Darth Rigatoni? Is that what he calls
Yeah,
himself?
Darth Rigatoni. Yeah, that's what he's called. Look, and he does the...
Yeah. Yeah, he's
or
a
is it like
character.
this? Yeah, like this.
He's a character, and he's
He's funny.
slick, man. His style is really nice to watch. It's a very pleasing to
It's
the
incredible.
eye version of jiu-jitsu, the way he moves around. Like, there's a lot of movement. There's not a lot of kind of sitting around like he's attack. He's fun.
And his sister is amazing jiu-jitsu. I don't know if you've ever seen her grapple, man, but holy
Yep.
smokes.
Yep.
Top of the line, like, world level, it's incredible. Very talented family. And I met his mom and dad, super nice people. So it's incredible to see a kid that I never thought would be that much of a killer become the killer of most killers. Incredible, man. 27 years old.
I want to give a shout out to some guys on Rumble checking us out, loyal viewers on Rumble, Jerry G69 and Eagle 999. Shout out to those guys, always enjoying the show over on Rumble. I'm seeing some people watching us on YouTube as well. Helium, Miss Brooklyn, Johnny North, Angelo. Thank you for tuning in to us here on a Thursday night. Guys, UFC 294 is next weekend. The whole card got switched up. And Charles Oliveira now hurt. Islam Makhachev taking on Alex Volkanovski. Is that a better fight?
Oof, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think...
Because Volkanovski had a better performance against Makhachev than Oliveira. Oliveira got, what was that, like 2 rounds, I think, the Oliveira-Makhachev fight? So... if anything, Volkanovski went 5 rounds, and it was a good fight, man. But I'm going to say right away, I think Islam's going to have a better fight this time. And I think the biggest difference is going to be that in Australia, he had less time to recover after the weigh-in, if you remember. And this time, I think he has like the full time. I'm not sure. I think it's 36 hours or something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's going to be a big difference, and Islam, I think, is going to win. Plus, he has a full training camp. But props to Volkanovski, man, to take this fight on short notice, jump on the opportunity. I'm very happy to see that.
I like it. It's a good fight. I'm glad that they were able to salvage the main event. However, I still got Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be, like, Mateusz Gamrot was supposed to be the backup for this fight. He was confirmed as a backup.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then they're like, and then when Charles falls out, they're like, sorry, Gamrot. You could be the backup. You could be the backup for the new backup, which is Volkanovski. You know, like what? I think he's the backup if somebody like misses weight or gets sick the day before. You know, but 2 weeks out, he's not the backup 2 weeks out. I wonder if Gamrot still goes to Abu Dhabi next week and makes weight.
I think he does.
Because as the backup, you know, he's kind of been jerked around as the backup. It's like, well, I thought it was the backup. You know?
He's probably getting paid just to show up. So if you're Gamrot, you haven't made that much money in your career, you're showing up. You're not pissing off Dana White. Also, look at the whole Dricus Duplessis thing, where Dana says like the winner of Chimaev and Usman might get the title shot against Strickland. Like all of a sudden, man, Dricus is forgotten because he refused to take a fight on short notice. So you show up. If Dana White tells you to show up, you show up, or you're going to be in his bad graces.
Yeah. Dricus got pushed to the back of the line, but so did Israel Adesanya in that one. Lior says Volk versus Islam is a better fight, and the short notice makes it even more interesting. I agree. I think it is a better fight. And Lauren checking in, and sorry for your loss there, Lauren. Sorry. Condolences for your uncle. Shout out to Lauren out in Côte St. Luc. Been a tough week, Lauren, I'm sure.
That's tough, man.
For all of us, it's been kind of tough. So, shout out to you, Lauren, out in Côte St. Luc. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Crazy times, man.
Tough week for my people. Okay. What about
Paulo Costa?
What about
Paulo Costa, man?
What about Paulo Costa? He got
staff and all that.
Is it? Yeah, is that what it is in his elbow? Was it staff?
Listen, me and Dave. Listen, we're not going to mention any names, but we saw somebody with possible staff like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, damn, you know what I'm talking about, Dave?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You remember what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't fool around with staff. I had staff, and let me tell you, it was nasty, and it's dangerous, and you can lose limbs, and you can lose your life if depending. Like, I've seen some pretty nasty things. But with Paulo Costa with his elbow, you can't fight. you're done. You're on antibiotics. You're done. I mean, anytime you get something like that, it's over. And it's too bad because I wanted to see Costa fight. I don't think he had a great chance, but it would have still been interesting to see. But anyways,
that's a real middleweight fight, though, for Khamzat, is my problem with it. Is that Paulo Costa was really a middleweight test for Khamzat. And Khamzat, he was a 170, 185. He was going back and forth, but he hasn't really fought anybody at 185. He fought Gilbert Burns at 170, who's somebody, and it was a tough fight, but he managed to win a decision. Tough fight, though, against Gilbert Burns. Next fight, he goes to fight Nate Diaz at 170, misses weight by like 10 pounds, fights a 180 catch weight against Kevin Holland, beats him, smashes him real easy.
Oh, yeah.
But Kevin Holland now fighting at 170 pounds. He's a welterweight. Paulo Costa's a big dude. He's a real 185er. He could maybe even fight at 205 at some point in his career. He is large. He is tough to grab and throw down to the mat with ease, you would think, if you're Khamzat Chimaev. So I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the test of Khamzat fighting a 185er. Kamaru Usman is a very serious test. He's got great wrestling. He's a world champion at 170. He is one of the best in the world without a doubt. But he hasn't been preparing for this. He's fighting Khamzat Chimaev on 2 weeks' notice? What's up with that? And it's Usman's first fight ever at 185. He's never fought at 185 in the UFC. He's a 170-pound fighter. I mean, that's whatever. I think this is really two welterweights fighting at 185, and for some reason, Dana White has said that these two welterweights fighting are potentially getting a title shot at the middleweight champion. That doesn't compute with me. I don't really understand how Kamaru Usman could beat Khamzat Chimaev at 185 and then all of a sudden jump the line and be number one contender for Sean Strickland. How does that make sense? Like, I got all the respect in the world for Khamzat and for Kamaru. Great fighters. Legendary. But, I mean, I don't see how beating Kamaru Usman gives you a title shot because Kamaru Usman's not a top contender at middleweight. And I don't see how beating Khamzat Chimaev gives you a title shot because he's also not a top contender at middleweight. Beat a top middleweight and then get a title shot. Beat Dricus, beat Adesanya, then get a shot at Sean Strickland. But that's not what's happening here. And when we have two contenders waiting in the wings that make a lot of sense in Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis, I cannot understand why Dana White and the UFC would give the winner of Usman and Khamzat the title shot. Like, I don't get it. Is he saying this to sell the fight? Is he saying this to make you watch, and then after the fight they'll be like, yeah, actually Israel's going to get the rematch because Dana's like, barring injury, it'll be the winner of this. And it's like, what? Why? I just don't understand that from the sport perspective. Maybe. From a promotional perspective, I get it. But, like, as far as middleweight rankings, if I'm a real 185er in the UFC, I go, yo, what? Why is this happening? Why do these guys get to jump the line?
I completely agree. I think it's a weird decision. And look, if these guys aren't very impressive, Dana is known to change his mind often. So, this should not be looked at as set in stone. It could change. But maybe also the plan is to have Izzy and Dricus fight each other. So if that's, maybe that's what Izzy wants to do next. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating. So if Izzy and Dricus fight next, well, yeah, somebody needs to fight Strickland. But yeah, Izzy or Dricus should be the number one contender.
It's weird.
Dricus defeated Whitaker, destroyed Whitaker. That's an impressive win.
Yeah, that's a win that should get you a title shot. Nobody else beats Robert Whitaker. Nobody.
True.
I don't get it. I don't know why Dricus is still getting pushed aside. Like, it's his turn.
He didn't take the short notice fight.
That's why.
That's not right.
Never say no. Never say no, man. Don't say no. You pay the price.
That's why if you're
It's happened
Gamrot,
so many
you're
times
showing up.
before.
You're not. You're taking that plane and you're saying thank you, Dana.
I think that never say no attitude is bad, though, because sometimes you got to pick your spots as a fighter. You don't want to take a fight when you're not fully prepared, because if you lose that fight, you're back down the ladder.
But, dude, you're saying no to your boss. That's what it comes down to. Just think of anybody that works in a regular job and your boss tells you, listen, you got to do this. And you'll be like, you know what? I think I'm going to take my coffee break. Chances are you might have some problems. And it's the same thing for the professional world, man. You're saying no indirectly to Dana White and the brass. So what do you think is going to happen? Freddie's right. You say no, you don't go.
I'm not saying it's right, man. I'm saying that's what's happening. Like Dana is a bully with his people, man. Let's just call it what it is. I'm not saying it's right that he does that, but that is what is happening.
He gives them the bully beatdown, man. But that is exactly what's happening.
Of course. That's how it works in the UFC.
Remember, George doesn't want to fight. George doesn't want to fight. Who else, man? Randy Couture doesn't want to fight.
Francis Ngannou doesn't want to challenge himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy Couture was never my friend. Right?
What? Randy?
That's what Dana White said when Randy Couture was like, Randy Couture was never my friend. Ask anybody. He's a bad guy. He was saying all these things about Randy Couture. When
Mr.
Randy was in the UFC, he was like, Captain America, look at this guy. He's the greatest ever. Yeah.
How fast we change.
Yeah.
It depends who brings money to the shelf, man. That's why Conor gets he gets a lot of passes, man. Think about it. He gets a lot of passes. Even drug testing.
Yeah.
Goodbye, USADA. Thank you, Conor.
Like
we'll see a lot of Conor in 2024. Like Angelo said, man, he's right.
He'll main event pay-per-view early 2024. They might wait till April to main event him at 300, UFC 300.
Yep.
I think it's very likely.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they seem to say he still has to wait the 6 months because I read some quotes like, he's still going to have to be in the testing pool for 6 months. It's just that it's not USADA doing it anymore.
But USADA's gone January 1st. Like, who's going to really keep with that regulation? Let's think about it.
No, but if the UFC gives him preferred treatment like that, then yeah, people should get mad. But for right now, they're saying like he entered the USADA testing pool 1 day before this announcement because he wants to do his 6 months. So whether it's USADA or somebody else, he has to start his 6 months period of being in the testing.
Yeah,
I don't think
but if you believe USADA, UFC wanted to give Conor an exception.
They won't give him they won't give him a time exception. They won't cut down that 6 months because that would make them look very bad. Like I say, I'm more scared of, is he really getting tested at the same rate as everybody else? Could he be getting advanced notice? Hey, Conor, next week, somebody's coming. Yeah. I'm just speculating. I got nothing to back up what I'm saying, but I wouldn't trust Dana.
Is it really a random drug test, or does it have to be random, or can it be scheduled? He has to be tested for 6 months, but they're not all random. I don't know. I don't know what the new UFC policy is going to be or how it's going to shake out. I'm hoping that it keeps the sport clean and it's just as good as USADA and it'll be all fine. I think it probably will be. Probably will be. Right? Hope for the best. It'll be fine.
I mean, in recent weeks, man, I'm trying to remember who talked about this, but some guys were saying it's not that hard to beat the USADA test. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was some known fighters that went on and talked about this week, saying like it was Marlon Vera, Cheeto Vera. He said with $20,000 you could get what you need to pass the test or whatever.
Show me the Benjamins.
I don't know. I think we'll be all right, guys. Should we get to the preview? There's fights this weekend.
Listen,
this card
can I just
sucks.
say a couple of things?
I know.
Listen, before we move over
No.
to that, I gotta say
No.
something, man. Yeah, man.
Nah, I'm good.
Listen, no, it's important. It's important. Quick,
Fred,
one.
should we let
I
him
just
say a
wanna
couple
give-
things? I don't know.
It's important. We talked about Mickey at the One Championships. We got to mention congratulations to John DeBella for winning the kickboxing championship. A guy from Montreal, man. We had our main man, Justin Mancini, a good friend of the show, that was cornering him. Incredible fight. John DeBella, man, retains his championship. The kid is hot. So congratulations to another Montrealer who's went to the world stage. And, man, the crowd was insane. So great fight, great performance. So I wanted to give him a shout out. John DeBella, good show, man.
Where was this? Where did he go to do this?
At the One Championship last week, man.
One championship.
It was One FC, eh?
Yeah.
One. That's cool.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible, beautiful card, man. I liked it. I really enjoyed their setup.
Was that mixed kickboxing and MMA? And
It was MMA,
jiu-jitsu?
kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, all on the card. It was, you know what? Their format is like, I was looking at stats.
I like it.
The second most watched organization is One Championship, and then the rest follow: PFL, Bellator, UFC obviously number one. But the One Championship format was, Freddie, you saw it. It was exciting, man.
Where you guys
I like
watching
the
this?
grappling, so
What's
it's
it
on
on?
grappling
Prime.
was great.
It's on Prime?
Yeah, it
for
was
free.
on Prime.
Really?
Yeah, it was on
Well,
Prime.
if
for
you got
free,
Prime, it's on Prime.
And it's live?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was live, man. And that's why I got a chance to see the Bella fight. And let me tell you, man, that was exciting. Did you see that fight, Freddie? He fought Daniel Williams,
No.
a guy from, I think he's from Australia. He's Australia and he's Thailandese. But, man, what a beautiful fight. And the Bella retains his championship. It was really cool,
That's
man.
not right.
What?
Is that right?
Thailandese?
I don't think Thailandese is the right.
Wow, he was Aussie. He's half Aussie and half Thailand. What do you want me to say?
Just
He's
Thai.
Thailandese, no?
Thailandese.
He's
I
Thai?
think it's
Okay, he's
Thai.
Aussie
I don't
Thai.
think
What
it's
are people
Thailandese.
from Thailand known as?
Well, we need.
Thai.
They're Thai.
Where's our viewers
Yeah,
from Thai?
That's what I said. Not Thailandese. Thailandese.
Well, maybe England
Thailandese.
might
That's crazy.
disagree with you there.
That's a good one.
I'm just saying.
People in England
Thailandese.
say Thailandese, you're saying? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm just saying.
Fucking ridiculous. When was this One
Anyways,
FC thing? How come I
congratulations
missed
to
it?
John
How come
DeBella.
you guys are watching some shit?
It
I
was
didn't
last
see?
Friday.
No, 'cause you-
Friday.
Yeah, you were on
Oh,
your show. You were doing your
Smackdown
show.
and shit. Yeah.
Yes, I even sent you the link and everything, but you were live, so I didn't want to bother you too much.
Yeah. I was talking about wrestling with Johnny.
Yeah, you're wrestling, and we were watching some pretty interesting fights. I was keeping you up
watching
to date. Did you see the
Smackdown.
messages?
Goddamn.
What a great card, man.
Okay. Yeah. What do we got
Hey,
here? You what?
I was
Fuck.
gonna say you didn't mention Coleman wishing you a happy birthday. A great UFC legend, man, coming to the show and wishing Dave a happy birthday.
Mark the Hammer Coleman, my good buddy. Hammer House
Remember him
forever.
on TRT? Damn, he was huge.
He was jacked. All right.
Man.
UFC Vegas this weekend. Sodiq Yusuff taking on Edson Barboza. Featherweights. Barboza's been in the game for a long time, 37 years old. Yusuff, 30 years old, 13-2 pro record. Coming off a 30-second guillotine choke win over Don Shainis in his last bout. That was a year ago. So he's been out for a while here. Has Sodiq Yusuff. Barboza, we know Barboza. He's got cool spinning kicks, nice knees, good hands. He's been fighting in the UFC for a while. He's fought some of the best. He fought Khabib. He beat Dan
He fought
Hooker.
Bryce Mitchell.
He beat
fought
Gilbert
Chickadee.
Melendez. He beat Benil Dariush. He beat Anthony Pettis.
He just won. He KO'd Billy. What's his name?
Quarantillo.
In his last fight, but he
Yeah.
lost to Mitchell and he lost to Chickadee just prior to that.
Chickadee.
So- Chickadee,
What's his name?
my buddy Chickadee.
Giga Chikadze.
What's his motherfucking name?
Giga. Chickadees.
Chickadee, man.
So I got Barboza in the main event. Barboza by knockout, baby. Let's go.
Man,
Barboza by
so
knockout in the main event.
he's the
I think he
favorite,
does a
man.
spinning thing on this guy, Yusuf, puts him to sleep. Right now,
I got his-
Barboza plus 145, the underdog at bet99.ringsidereport.net. Bet99.ringsidereport.net.
You said the spinning thing. You see, I got a spinning parlay for you guys. I got Barbosa and Michael Pereira. Both
Ooh,
of them are
that's
going to
some-
be spinning.
That's some spinning shit. Watch out for that takedown from Petrosky, though. I think Petrosky's a live underdog on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you might be right. All right,
Pereira's a big guy.
Huh?
Pereira's a big guy. He's going to be tough to bring down.
Yeah, I think
Man, he's exciting, man.
I think so too. I think I think Pereira probably wins, but I don't know. I could see Petrosky pulling it off. Here's a Team Fred parlay. I'll show it to you. How about that? Uh-oh. It didn't work. There's
What
no
happened?
Team Fred parlay. I don't know.
Damn it.
Oh, hold on. I think that's me. Hold on. I think I could fix it. Maybe.
Wasn't me.
It might have been you, AJ.
Mhm.
I think that
Wasn't
was
me.
your fault, actually, AJ.
What?
I'm blaming you for that one.
Makes sense.
Wasn't me.
Let's see. Can I get Fred's parlay up on the screen now? Yes. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, nope. Yep. Hey. All right. Oof. You never know. Okay. It's this. It's Pereira. It's Barboza. $20 gets you 72.33. It is the Team Fred parlay. Pereira over Petrosky and Edson Barboza in the main event. Plus 262, the Team Fred parlay. Over at bet99.ringsidereport.net. AJ, what do you say? You got a parlay for me? Fred just dropped it
Man.
on you. Just boom, parlay.
I know, right away.
You
man.
didn't even
I
give
was
me a
just
main
looking at
event
my-
pick. Fred just gave me a parlay. I love it. That's what I'm
I
talking
mean,
about.
Fred understood the pre-show speech.
Thank you. Yeah, he did. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Fred, for
The
putting a
AJ doesn't
wrench.
understand.
Let's see if
pre-show
AJ
speech.
understands.
He doesn't. Watch how
Listen,
long
I'm
it's going to
gonna go-
take him to get through his parlay.
Listen. It's going to be tough, man. You're not giving a lot of credit to Yusuf. This guy is the favorite into this fight. The only thing is that he doesn't throw as much volume as Barboza, and I think if Barboza doesn't attack or really utilize all his striking capabilities, I think Yusuf is going to be able to stuff him. So I'm going to go with actually Yusuf for this. It's going to be hard, man. This is going to be a tough one. But if he's able to control the pace, I think he's going to be able to beat Barboza. So Yusuf for me, man. You said enough? No, I didn't. Here, let's go to the next one. Jennifer Maya, man. That's going to be my...
That was great. That was really good. Some of your best work. Truly.
Thanks, man. Took a lot of practice. Listen, Maya. I'm going to go with Maya. Did anybody pick Maya, by the way? Did you guys?
Not in the parlay, but yeah, I think Maya probably wins her fight.
Yeah. I think Maya should be able to do this. Then I'm going to go with, the Petrosky against Pereira. I mean, Pereira, man, that guy's something, man. Every time he comes to fight, man, he puts on a show. He's coming in really last minute. It's going to be hard for Andre to really figure this guy out in a short period of time. I think it's a tough fight. Pereira is always ready to go. I think it's going to be Pereira's win on that night, on Saturday night. And then, unfortunately, it's too bad about our own Canadian, our own Montrealer, Marc-Andre Barriot, unfortunately got hurt. I really thought he was going to be able to probably beat Pereira just with his striking capabilities and his resistance to take shots. Not always, but most of the time. But it's too bad with Marc-Andre Barriot, man. I hope we see him again in the near future. But I think Pereira is going to be able to pull it off. And that's going to be my pick, man. It's hard for me to go
What did you take?
further.
Who did you have? Barbosa, Maya.
No.
Oh, he
I
had
had
Yusuf.
Sodiq Yusuf.
Oh yeah,
Yusuf,
sorry.
man.
Yusuf, Maya,
Don't you use
Yusuf, Maya, Pereira, and who? That's it?
That's it.
Pereira and that's it, man.
That's
You
it.
didn't take Martinez, Yanez? You didn't do the main card, really.
a
Usually you
hard
give
one
me
with
a
that one.
bigger... You just gave me a 3-fight parlay? Is that it?
Yeah.
Don't fight it, babe.
Okay,
Don't
look,
fight
look,
it.
I'm not fighting it. No. I'm good.
No,
I'm good. Shut up, AJ.
No, I'm putting in
Fred's right.
Martinez. Put in Martinez. Not Ricky, but Jonathan.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah, if I had to go with anything, it'd probably be with Martinez. Let's do it. 4.
You got to go with the Martinez. Okay, you got a 4-fight parlay
he's a
here.
good boxer, but yep, boxer versus wrestler.
4-fight parlay.
Too young, Dave, to remember the Two Life Crew song?
Which song?
Fuck Martinez.
Ricky Mountain.
No, I don't know that. God damn, this site is not working for me these days. What is happening? It's like they changed the something, and I can't show the parlays as well, guys. All right. Yusuf, Maya, Pereira, Martinez. 20 gets you 144.22 with the Team AJ parlay for this weekend. So again, he's got Martinez, Pereira, Maya, and Yusuf. Yusuf!
Don't Yusuf me, man. Listen, it's too bad you couldn't put down like an extra with like a Dillon Danis, because I think Dillon Danis is going to probably win if he's on Bet99.
Wow, that is not a great pick, but cool.
I'm telling you.
Are there odds for that?
I don't think there are. Well,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me give you my parlay
Logan
here. Logan Paul minus 4 what?
425.
Ooh.
Dillon Danis is plus 305.
Man, go with Dillon Danis, man. I'm telling you.
All right, I got a parlay for you. It's a 3-fight parlay from Team Dave, and I love the odds on this parlay. Fred, you're going to like them too. Look at that. You know it's going to win. This parlay for sure is going to win, Fred. You know why? Because I got Jennifer Maya, I got Jonathan Martinez, and I've got Melissa Dixon. All right? All favorite. Well, yeah, Martinez slight favorite. And now, the 3-fight parlay odds plus 420. You know it's going to win. Plus 420? How did that work?
That's pretty good.
That's money.
Jeez.
$20 gets you 103.94. It's a Dave parlay.
Yeah,
I just put 3 fights in there that I liked, and the odds came out at plus 420. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. If I'm giving you a parlay that's plus 420, you know that's winning. That's a victory right there. Maya, Dixon, Martinez. Dixon Martinez. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Don't be
plus 420.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
What?
Yeah, that's a good one, Dave.
That's
actually,
my parlay.
I must say,
that's a good one.
Yeah,
oh, that's nice. Oof.
The payouts are good, man. Bet99.
There you go. Bet99.ringsidereport.net.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
It's on the screen. It's right above the. Yeah, it's right there.
It's a nice one. Wow, look at those graphics. They're amazing. Great stuff.
What? Are we done?
No, I just got to do one more thing, man. I got to do a quick shout out because it's important because Ringside Report is going to be there. I don't know who on the team is going to be there, but I'm pretty sure AJ is going to be there. Shout out to the guys from Fight Quest that are listening. Saturday, October 28th. We'll be there, ringside, 7:30 p.m. Fight Quest, man. It's a pretty stacked card, man. So hopefully, a lot of the ringside crew go.
What is this that you are committing us to?
Saturday, October 28th, man. It's the Fight Quest that's going on in Ganawaki. Okay. Leone is one of the sponsors, as you can see, obviously. Playground Poker, Havana Club.
Okay, that's enough. So you're going to this? You're going to this? This is why you're giving a shout out because you're attending this, or am I attending this too?
Ringside.
Is this the thing that you want me to go to with you?
Yes, bud. October 28th. It's a sold out event, man. It's gonna be stacked.
You know I hate leaving my house. You know I don't go out for nothing.
But you're Dave Simon, man. You're like you gotta be there, man. You're like the Jake Paul of the show. You know?
That's insulting.
Everybody knows you, Dave. You gotta be there. People are asking for you. In fact, I think
I don't believe you. I don't believe that at all. Nobody ever asks for me.
Everybody asks for Dave
No
Simon.
one has ever asked for me ever in my life.
Sometimes
people
I
ask me
pretend
to
I'm
Other
leave.
than your kids.
outside or
Other than your
Hey?
kids.
Yeah, they ask for me, but they just want something out of me.
Yeah. Sounds like my ex-wife. But, yeah.
Well, we got Fury and Ngannou that time, don't we?
Yeah, that's Fury and Ngannou Day.
Why are you
The
trying to
28th.
ruin my
Doing
fun,
AJ.
AJ? I gotta watch Ngannou.
But that's going to
happened,
be in
AJ?
the afternoon. I'm
You
going to
just
give
freeze out?
AJ a little. No, you
Thanks,
just
Fred.
like you got him like to shut up because he
Oh.
didn't have no response.
He doesn't know what
But
to
No, I
say.
was, like,
actually,
sweating
don't
at that
forget
point.
that Ngannou and Fury is in the afternoon. So
Oh.
Oh, thank you, Lord. Way to go, England. I love you. You see? That's why they're on
it's in
AJ's
Abu
side.
Dhabi, I think.
Fred
Is
said,
it?
sorry, AJ. Angelo says he doesn't have to be there, AJ. Yeah, see, AJ, I don't have to be there.
Angelo, shut up!
No one needs
But
me
I'm going to say
anywhere.
something. Listen, maybe Angelo wants to come too. We can tag him in as Muscles Marco. Oh, by the way, I got to thank Muscles Marco for the amazing work he did yesterday. You guys don't know about it because you didn't hear from me at all yesterday, but I had a little incident with a car. It was the worst place, but it was the worst place that you can stall, like on an intersection where there's buses and ambulances and people walking, and AJ's car went completely kaput to the point where I couldn't even put it in neutral to put it to the side. Thank you for the people that helped me put like pylons in the back of my car. Thank you to Muscles Marco to come and help me, like, with the stresses. Some people are dicks. Honestly, man, you're stuck in the middle of the road. I can't go fucking nowhere. And you get people driving by honking and giving me the finger. So I had to call Muscles. Muscles came, got a tow truck in lickety split time and got me towed. I mean, okay, the worst part is there was construction and it went down to one lane, and AJ was the first car at the light that got stalled. It was bad, dude. It was bad. I'm telling you, man. Oh, I'm telling you, I aged like about 10 years yesterday. But anyways, thanks to the guys from Summerlin Mechanics.
95.
Joey, James. What's that?
You're 95.
I felt like it yesterday, man. People are so rude, man. I'm stuck. Where the fuck you think I'm going to go? Feel sorry for the bastard because I'm going to be paying. It doesn't cost cheap to get a towing, but thanks to Muscle and his connections.
Here, AJ, $2 for
He says hi, by
you
the
can
way.
have $2 for your troubles.
That's
Look
it.
At, look at that,
I'll take
$2.
that.
I want it.
That's
I want it.
That's a collector, man. I'll take it. I'm taking it when I see you.
Look
on
how
Saturday.
nice that is. No, this is mine. This is
That
my
is
prized
nice.
possession right now. I just got this. How
Damn,
nice
that
is
looks
that?
good.
Crispy
Who is that,
$2
the
bill.
Queen on there?
Yeah,
Who
that's
is
the
that?
real
The Queen?
This is a 1986, baby. This is nice. That's real.
Man, that was the time of the 86. Let me think. Who was like popular? Boy George. You too.
You really liked Boy George, eh?
I met him once, that bastard.
AJ,
I'm
you
telling
weren't
you,
listening
he was,
to like Kumo D or Big Daddy Kane or KRS-One. Nothing cool, right? You were listening to Boy George. Huh? What happened?
come in.
I know there was good music in the 80s, but AJ just wasn't listening to it, And that's
What
when
are you talking
AJ
about?
should have
Both are
been
good
like
at the time.
down with pop culture. Like now he's super old, so he's not expected to be down with what's going on. I'm getting to that
I'm
age
down.
where I'm
I heard
super old
Drake's
and I
new
don't know
song
what's
there,
going on.
whatever it was called.
What?
Drake, did he just come out with a new song? I just heard it
Got
recently.
a new
It wasn't
album
too bad.
out.
Yeah.
Fred, you heard Fred, do you
I
know what
forgot the
Drake's
title.
new album is called?
Nope.
Nah,
Something weird. I know it was something weird.
it's not that weird. It's called
Don't really
for-
care.
for all the dogs. I just wondered if you heard about it, I just want to know, like, I'm not like quizzing you. I'm just curious to know what you hear about. Cuz I mean, like, cuz everybody's got different internet. You know what I mean? Like everybody goes on the internet and they see different things in their feed popping up. For me, there was a lot of For All the Dogs talk when, Drake's new album came out, like, I guess last week. There was a lot of For All the Dogs talk. And I wonder if you guys got some of that talk on your internet, or because, we're on completely different internets,
Yeah, man, because my dogs are more like, who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who? That kind of dog.
I prefer like where my
Or in
dog's
wrestling,
at.
the Junkyard Dogs.
Where my dog's at? Right here, y'all. Where my dog's at? You know?
Did you hear what I said in wrestling? Remember the Junkyard Dogs?
Yeah, Junkyard Dog is one guy. You said Junkyard Dogs like they were a tag team of men. It was one man called the Junkyard Dog. What are you talking about?
Who let the dogs out?
Who?
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, shut up, AJ.
Angelo. Ah.
You know?
But I got Angelo first.
What?
Yeah, you missed it, man, earlier in the show when he was telling you not to go to the show.
Yeah. You know, me and Fred are done when we're both rolling joints already because we're like, we're done, guy. We're done with you, AJ.
Yeah, man,
me
I'm
and Fred are.
respecting the pregame.
You're what?
I'm respecting the pregame show, man. Pregame speech, man. I'm not sure you guys are.
Yeah, I know. All right, show's over, guys. I'll be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time with Johnny North to talk professional wrestling. Thank you to everybody watching us. Angelo says, shut up, AJ. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, guys. We'll see you again not just Friday, but Saturday, right? We'll be back for the Logan Paul, Dillon Danis fight.